Hey friends, so today I want to talk a little bit about security when you are using Claude Code. Now, I'm a big fan of Claude Code and I've been using it now for almost 6 months. And I can tell you that it makes me really nervous when I see people, including myself in the early days, actually launch Claude Code directly on our main workstation where there's, a lot of data, unfettered access potentially to information and tools and a command line, obviously, we may not want to give it access to. And this is important mainly because when you think about how Claude Code works, it is actually interacting with your operating system and it is running various different commands, and it is using your operating system and tools that are frankly quite powerful. Now, in most cases, when you use Claude Code just on its own and you don't make any modifications to how it's running and its permissions, it is going to do a really good job of asking you if you want to actually allow it to do something. However, there are those of us who have discovered this transform called dangerously skip permissions, and it allows you to give Claude Code unfettered access to do whatever it like within its context. And that can be really powerful. It allows you to give it commands, give it prompts, etc., that it can go off and do long running with, and it doesn't have to check in with you. There are indeed better ways to do this, but if you're just getting started, I recommend setting up a virtual machine to run Claude Code in. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a hassle, but it's one that's worth undertaking because instead of having all of the information available to you that you would like to have Claude Code have access to because it's already on your machine, right? You are going to instead need to deliberately put tools, data, etc. in its hands within this virtual machine. So this means that you have kind of an extra layer with a virtual machine to think about what you actually want it to have access to and what tools you're going to let it control. So my recommendation is, if you're a Windows person, to set up a Hyper-V Linux station, specifically Ubuntu Linux, that is running on your computer. Now, there's a lot of great tutorials out there on how to set up a Linux virtual machine on your Windows box. I happen to be running Windows 10 because, well, I just haven't had a need to upgrade to Windows 11 yet. So I've just created a very simple Claude Code desktop and gone through the processes of setting it up so that I can just SSH into it. Again, there's some really good tutorials out there. I won't bore you with that. But let me show you what that actually looks like. So when you open your command prompt, instead of just running Claude Code directly in the command prompt, you're actually going to instead SSH into your virtual machine. So I call mine Claude Code VM. And when you do that, you'll have to you'll definitely want to set up some password protection so that not just anyone can get into this. So I will try to type in my password while I'm recording. It's not something I normally do. And then, boom, I'm in. I'm actually SSH'd into my Claude Code VM. Now, why this is great is that since I'm now executing on this remote computer, right? It's a virtual machine on my desktop. It doesn't have access to anything. Now, in all transparency, I have set up this folder right here that I'm in as an SMB share that I can get to from my Windows 10 box. So this is using Samba. It's a very simple setup. Again, look online. There's some great tutorials on how to do this, and it's very easy. You can even ask Claude how to do this, which is what I did. And of course, it comes as no surprise. The instructions it gave me were pretty good and did help me secure it. So I actually have access to this folder I'm in right now from my Windows desktop. So I can actually drop stuff into this folder. I can go to other folders within this particular VM, whatever I need to, and run Claude from there. Now, what this does is I don't have any reservations now of using Claude with the dangerously skip permissions. And why is that? Well, first of all, understand that dangerously skip permissions allows Claude to basically do whatever it likes without asking you first. And secondly, I'm not concerned because it is in a virtual machine, doesn't have access back into its host Windows machine at all. And I've done some pen testing on this, and it actually is pretty good. That said, your mileage will vary. I would just say that if you're going to go this route, this is a good first step to allowing Claude Code to run, but only have access to a limited subset of your data that you have deliberately put onto this virtual machine. So at this point, you'll notice I'll have bypass permissions on, which is great, and I can go ahead and have Claude do whatever I like, and I'm not worried about it accidentally deleting anything off of my machine or having access to things on my network that I haven't explicitly given it access to. So that's it for today. I hope this is helpful. It's something to think about, certainly, as you are considering your own Claude Code usage and how you're going to use Claude Code to, do amazing things in your world. Be sure to sandbox it in a virtual machine, as I've done here, so that you don't accidentally end up doing damage to your main desktop computer or any of your data, if at all possible. Obviously, there are other risks I'm not going to get into in this video that you could still create a lot of havoc in your world if you don't do correctly, but this is a good start. Let me know if you have any questions down in the comments, and look forward to you in the next one.